Hi, my name is Sophie. I am a social worker. I would like to state that I am going to be looking at this specific story not only as someone who is an advocate for immigrants, but also as a mental health professional. I do want to say the story needs to have major trigger warnings because it does talk about alleged suicide, even though, in my opinion, I do believe that this man was murdered by ICE officials in an ICE detention facility. Detained by ICE found dead, hanging with hands and feet tied. Attorney. A Chinese immigrant was found dead in U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement detention, with his hands and feet tied behind him, an attorney has alleged. Xiaofeng Ji died 4 days after entering ICE custody in Pennsylvania on August 5th, with an agency report stating he was found by agents with a, quote, a cloth ligature around his neck. After an autopsy report, his family is calling for more answers from the Department of Homeland Security. This is Xiaofeng Ji. He was only 32 years old. Records from ICE went quiet for over a year before agents encountered Ji in Lower Paxton Township, Pennsylvania. In January 2025, he was accused of accessing a device issued to another who did not authorize its use, conspiracy, accessing a device issued to another who did not authorize use, theft by deception, false impression, conspiracy, theft by deception, criminal use of communication facility, and unlawful use of a computer, access to disrupt function. The report states he was assessed with the help of a Mandarin interpreter on August 1st, when he denied any past medical or mental health issues. 4 days later, on August 5th at around 5:20 a.m., officers at the Moshinon Valley Processing Center in Phillipsburg say they found him in a shower stall with a cloth around his neck. Despite getting him onto the ground and attempting life-saving measures, including CPR, Ji was pronounced dead roughly 40 minutes later. An autopsy report seen by Newsweek showed Ji was found tied with a bed sheet with linens around his wrist and ankles and what the report described as a hog-tied position. The medical examiner noted that there had been other reported incidents of people who had hung themselves having done something similar and that there were no obvious defense wounds. These deaths were laid out in the criminal complaint filed by the family's attorney, David Rankin, a partner of Beldock, Levine, and Hoffman LLP in New York City. The complaint alleges that ICE denied G the mental health care he needed and ignored requests for more details on the conditions of the MVPC. Newsweek asked DHS whether G had been tied up and whether it was cooperating with the lawsuit filed in New York. Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin did not answer these questions but repeated similar messaging on detention deaths, that ICE takes each one seriously and thoroughly investigates them all. I won't have one main thing. Not everyone from China speaks Mandarin. But because ICE is so fucking incompetent, I doubt they knew that. So that's one question. Did they have the correct translator for him? Number 2, hogtied. This is where I believe this man was tortured and he was murdered. This is what hogtying looks like. Police used to do this, but it was found inhumane, and police do not do this anymore. You can put someone in this position and it could cause serious harm to their shoulders, their neck, their wrists if they are in this position for a long amount of time. Allegedly, he was found in this position, a cloth ligature, so I'm guessing like a bedsheet around his neck as well. It is unclear where the position of the bedsheet was. Was the bedsheet tied with his hands and neck? Was the bedsheet tied above? It is unclear. You can't do that by yourself. You cannot do that by yourself. It is physically impossible. And I want to make another thing clear. No one who wants to die by suicide would go to such lengths to put themselves in that position to then die by hanging. No, that's not a thing. This is why I think he was murdered, because there is no possible way that if he was in such a severe mental state of suicidality, he had suicidal ideations, that he would put himself anywhere close to being hogtied and he would then die by suicide and attempts. It doesn't know. It's something that needs to be independently investigated. And I've been calling for an independent investigation for every single one of these ICE detention facility deaths. There has been 22 reported deaths since ICE has been taken over by Christy motherfucking Gnomes. And yet, that is the most amount of deaths in a 10-month period that we have ever seen since ICE was created in 2003. I do not believe that in such a short amount of time, this man was pushed to the brink of suicide. It is physically impossible to hogtie yourself and die by suicide. That's just physically impossible. And they claim there's no defensive wounds. Well, what was his talk screens like? Was there anything in his system? There is no reason for him to have defensive wounds if he was very out of it. But also, I just don't understand how you have no defensive wounds, but you were hogtied. That doesn't make any sense. I think it also needs to be into question is, why was this person alone at 5:20 a.m. taking a shower? What are the conditions? I thought that there always needs to be a guard on duty. How does it work? There are so many questions that need to be asked. My heart goes out to the family and friends of this man who was only 32 years old. And I hope that they get the justice and the answers that they rightfully deserve. And I hope that every single one of those ICE Gestapo fucks is held accountable for his death, because it was under their guise that he died. If he was in a mental crisis prior, I think that is important to note. But there's a lot of questions that need to be had. ICE needs to be abolished. And it's been very frustrating to see the lack of demand for ICE to shut down, ICE to be abolished by Democrats, because this is a bipartisan thing. They like ICE. Even though ICE was created in 2003, Border Patrol can handle it. ICE should not exist. ICE needs to be abolished. And this is one of the many stories we will hear of the human atrocities that the United States government has allowed. If this man allegedly was convicted of crimes, why was he not put in prison? Why was he put in a detention center? These are questions that need to be had. But again, a 32-year-old man should be alive today.